welcome back to IDV24. We are here in Las Vegas. This is all happening live. Wherever you're tuning from, be sure to interact. We have this stream into many different places, hosted by Cyber Risk Alliance and Identiverse, and we're going to be speaking all about the subject of identity. With me, I have a great guest with me. I have Kevin FIDO, who is the Regional Sales Manager of the Americas, focused on embedded IoT solutions at Swissbit. Kevin, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
Excited to have you. And I was particularly excited to speak to you because of your experience in sales, especially looking at cybersecurity. We get a lot of questions about like, what is it like to be a cybersecurity sales rep, manager? But share a little bit about your experience getting into cybersecurity sales, and also what excites you to stay into this role.
Yeah, I've spent most of my career in semiconductor sales, working for hardware companies, chip manufacturers, and Swissbit is the same. And what many people don't know, we are claim to fame. Our main business is memory and storage products, but we have started to incorporate more security features on those products over the last decade or so. And so it was an easy spin for me to get into that division work on those types of products with additional features, and then move into a market in cybersecurity that is really very different from the semiconductor world that I was used to in the past, right? The very mature industry.
Yep.
Cybersecurity keeps evolving with new players every day. It keeps changing, right? So that's how I really got into this world, and it keeps me on my toes. Every time I come to one of these conferences, one of these shows, there's always somebody new to talk to and more to learn, right? So that's how
There's a lot going on. I was walking around where all of the exhibitors are at, and hearing about some of the solutions, I was like, wow, okay, my purpose here is to learn. Yeah. And most importantly, we're going to be learning about your company, Swissbit, learning about what you all do. Anyone that's here at Identiverse probably, if they've spoken to Swissbit, have probably heard of iShield Key Pro. Mm-hmm. So, for the audience that's tuning in, tell us about what that is and what value does it provide your audience?
Yeah, it's a security key, right? So in this world of phishing attacks where you keep hearing about another company or another entity getting hacked every day, it seems, right? Always in the news. It's a non-phishable form of authentication, right? It's a security key. You have to carry it around, but it allows you to basically perform a second factor of authentication, or the main factor if you prefer, for any of your online accounts. And it's a non-phishable way to do that, right? So
right.
Unless somebody steals your key, authenticates for you, which that shouldn't be the case, right?
It's pretty difficult to do that as well, right?
Of
if
course.
Someone steals it or finds it.
Of course, right. It's the second factor, right? So they still have to have other pieces of your identity to be able to get into your accounts, right? So.
Right. I think that's solid, and I think that's so needed. You hear a lot of organizations investing in things like FIDO keys. So what is the difference between iShield Key Pro and everything else that you hear about physical multi-factor authentication methods?
Yeah, the iShield Key Pro supports, it's first of all, Swissbit's part of the FIDO Alliance, an active member there. So it supports FIDO2, the newest of the FIDO standards. Also, the other protocols that you may have heard of, like hash-based one-time password, time-based one-time password, and then and PIV as well, right? All on the iShield Key Pro. But one of the things that we're doing is incorporating also physical access technologies into the key, so that now it supports both logical and physical access, so to get you access into your company's building or a secure facility, and so that you can have all of these features incorporated into one key, basically to consolidate that.
I would imagine that anyone could benefit from your solution, this physical way to authenticate and provide identity and access management. For looking at the fact that anyone is your end user, who is your target person that you sell to? Is it CISOs? Is it identity architects? Who are you speaking to most of the time?
We talked to a lot of CISOs, talked to a lot of folks in the identity access management space. We're really targeting companies that have lots of employees, right? The large workforce.
Yep.
And one of the things that we recently announced, actually just a couple of days ago, is listed on the NIST website, is that this key is now 140-FIPS 140-3 level 3 in the process of getting certified, right? So it's listed on the NIST website for cryptographic modules. So that now allows us to target also the government workforce, right? So these large agencies that have many employees that need to, obviously authenticate to get into their systems, and or physical facilities.
Right.
There's lots of SCIFs and secure manufacturing, facilities and plants, labs that you may need. You may not be able to bring another factor of authentication into those facilities, right? For example, your cell phone. Right now, some of the things that we use for the second factor is your cell phone. Either you're not allowed to bring those into some of those facilities, or some folks may not want to use their personal cell phone for work purposes, right? So there's various scenarios where this becomes a very viable option, if not the preferred option, or even a cost-effective option for some situations like that, right? But mainly for, we're targeting, like I said, large enterprise workforces and now government workforces as well.
Stunning. The fact that anyone can benefit from this technology, I'm sure the light bulb moment is pretty quick when people hear about your solution.
Sure.
The only thing that I could think of is friction, because it's a physical device and also a new paradigm of thinking. But I would imagine that friction mentality is overcome. How do you typically navigate prospects and customers through that idea of friction?
Well, I think, first of all, there's lots of bad actors getting into lots of these major corporations, let's say, that's happening in the news.
Yeah.
There's some of these mandates that are coming down the road that are, suggesting, if not mandating, that you use MFA going forward, right?
For sure.
This is obviously just one option to do that. But like I said, we're providing all the different either scenarios that you may want to, account for, like physical access, logical access, the different types of protocols, but also future-proofing in terms of, collaborating with the FIDO Alliance and other companies around, that we're working with to make sure that in the future, the friction is less, right? Try to have seamless integration with our partners. We're obviously here at Identiverse talking to a lot of our technology partners from the identity and access management platform side. So making sure that we're validating that our key is compatible with all these different platforms that you may be using in your office or in your workforce today, right? So those are the conversations we're having at this conference here. We've been having for months, if not years now, to try and get that set up to take away from the friction that customers might see. And then of course we actually are also supporting other form factors as well. We have a wristband form factor that supports FIDO2 as well.
Oh, really?
So there's some of these things that we're also, sort of future-proofing for different use cases as well, and that we're trying to make known here at the show, and also, of course, collaborating with our customers to make sure that we're taking in that feedback as well, and making sure that we're creating the right products for the future.
You had me at wristband. You got to tell me how does that work? Talk me through the user experience. I'm sure this solution, iShield Key Pro, has made your life a little bit easier at work. What happens with this wristband, and how do I get access to all my stuff?
Yeah. So the wristband is a very interesting use case, right? I mean, so it's the same technologies all incorporated into that form factor. So if you can imagine a wristband on your hand, it's useful for certain cases, like, for example, in a hospital, right? If you can imagine like a doctor or surgeon that needs to go in and out of a secure area where not everybody can go into, may not be able to type in a password every time to do that, or needs to access medical devices or medicine or that type of thing, have it on their wrist instead, and they can authenticate each time that they're trying to use a new device or get a new medication or get into maybe a surgery room or something like that. That's just one example of how the wristband form factor can be obviously something different that you use versus having a key that you pull out of your keychain every time. So
I think it's important to remember use cases like that, hospitals environments, or even banking environments where you have to work in a very timely manner.
Sure.
Which industries and verticals, do you really see your company support and enable when it comes to like time-sensitive aspects like healthcare?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it, right? You said banking as well. Like the critical infrastructure industries are really where, first of all, they're the ones that through government mandates are being made aware of having to use multi-factor authentication, whether it's security keys or it's other, based on your cell phone, whatever type of authentication that is. They're looking at making those changes and incorporating that into their solutions going forward. They're probably the first ones taking a look at that. But then there's very high risk use cases like we mentioned in these medical facilities, banking, of course, folks wanting to protect their accounts. There is a like a personal aspect of wanting to use these keys as well. And the first thing people think of is I got to protect my bank account, right? I got to protect my money, right? So that's so there's those types of industries that we're targeting first, and of course, industrial. Where our memory and storage side of our company is very focused on. Or has a long-standing history supporting industrial type customers. So we have some partners also that we work with that provide solutions for MFA in OT networks in that are like outside of the IT network for industrial customers. And so that's another basically partnership that we've explored and pursued to try and grow that market as well. But it all goes back to basically critical infrastructure. I think once they get over that hump, everyone will also start to sort of follow and see after they see the value and how that's created more secure world.
Right. I look at cybersecurity vendors as trusted partners for their customers, for their prospects, for the world at large, because we all could benefit from cybersecurity. And the trusted advisor that you typically interface with is the sales manager, someone like yourself. When you are speaking to people at Identiverse or speaking to people at the comfort of your own home through virtual meetings and pitches, how do you help them understand the importance and the value? What is the thing that you typically say to them or speak about that makes the light bulb go off on why this is truly needed?
That's a good question. I think what people fail to realize is how much more we can be doing in the world of security. Right. Not only did we already talk about the breaches we keep hearing about, but when you start to go and look back at how much is actually being spent towards cybersecurity, there's really a small fraction of the IT spend even at a lot of these companies. I think once you start to see that and then you kind of connect the dots between all of the sort of negative news we hear around breaches and things like that, you start to see why this industry is evolving so quickly, why people keep getting into it, why there keeps being a number of new successful companies that keep popping up, because it's something that's much needed, right?
Right.
And I think, and everybody sort of knows this in the back of their mind. So once you start having that conversation, and ears start to perk up, including mine, like when I got into this space as well. Yeah. Then you start to see lots of interest, right, in how things keep exploding, like places here, like Identiverse, right? More and more conferences and bringing folks together to continue to discuss this, because it's definitely an area that's growing quickly, but it could grow faster, and we need more help.
We absolutely do. And we're here at Identiverse. What are you looking forward to most out of this event?
Oh, to honestly to continue to network, right? So Swissbit is a great brand. It's a great company based in Europe. I want to continue to grow that brand here in North America. Make sure that folks are aware of all the things that we're doing, maybe not even only on the authentication side, but some of our products on the secure memory and storage side for some hardware applications as well. So really excited just to get the name out there, continue to meet with our partners. I'm starting to see some familiar faces now as I attend more and more of these events and getting to know some of these people. So it's cool to get more immersed into this world, not only of cybersecurity, but really here in the North American market.
Solid. I appreciate you taking some time to speak to us, sit down, answer some questions, and fill us in the know on Swissbit and also iShield Key Pro.
iShield Key Pro.
iShield Key Pro. Thank you so much. And by the way, for anyone that wants to get more information on Swissbit or iShield Key Pro, be sure to check out securityweekly.com/Swissbit IDV. That's the SWISSBIT IDV. Be sure to stay in touch with Swissbit and Kevin, and we'll see everybody on the next session.